So the pain that you feel is based on this uncertainty. And uncertainty is an interesting emotion because it depends on what it's mixed with on what you feel. So if you feel dread, i.e. the anticipation of something bad happening, and uncertainty about that outcome, then you will feel fear, i.e. you're not going to want to face it because the more you dig into it, the worse it'll become. Likewise, if you feel certainty about a good outcome, i.e. the absolute opposite of that, then you will feel excitement. Now, for a business owner, the biggest fear that you're fundamentally going to have is going to be a cash flow problem. So if there's not enough money to pay the bills, to pay payroll, to pay rent, lights go off, that's going to be the biggest fear. But we don't have a lot of fear on it because you sort of know what the bills are going to be. There's not uncertainty about it. Now, there could be anger about it. So if you have certainty that they're going to be unpayable, you might get angry and you might get pumped, you might get passionate, you might take action, and then you'll make a change. But the one that we fear most, the biggest expense that business owners don't look into, is the one that is the most uncertainty, and that's the one that makes people sick, and it's the business killer. And it's the one that if you do face it, you actually have control over changing it and over affecting it, and also just having peace of mind from knowing that it's taken care of. Because when you don't address this thing, it grows with time, it compounds, and then eventually that becomes the strongest driver in the business, and once that dominates the business goes out of business. And so what am I talking about? I'm talking about the biggest expense that everybody pays in their life. It's taxes. It's when those taxes hit. It's an ugly word, and when those taxes hit, it doesn't feel like there's an ROI in paying them. It doesn't make the customers happy. It doesn't necessarily drive sales. It doesn't necessarily keep the lights on. Nobody necessarily gets paid. In fact, there's less money to pay people. And so a lot of people, they take this as a necessary problem to experience, and they aren't proactive about it, and they sort of just turn away from it, and they just let it grow until it is undeniable, and then they have to address it, which is usually around March 15th, April 15th, around that time of the year. My contention is that as a business owner, if you look at this number and you maintain the idea of it and you are certain about it, even if it's unpayable, then okay, you get angry about it, you make a change, you figure it out, right? You arrange it. But if you actually monitor this number, it improves. And when this number improves, your mental state improves. And when your mental state improves, you perform better. So you don't have fear as the driving emotion or as something that is a strong influencer. You have instead excitement, or you have anger, and that's going to make you stronger. So if you want to talk about it, go to Sussman.cpa, and thanks for watching.